to my channel and welcome to today's video. Today's video I'm going to be talking about some Christmas novellas and whether I would recommend them. So this video is going to be going out on Christmas Eve, so if you are wanting to get in some festive reads but you don't have the time to read a full-length book, then these would be perfect. All of these novellas are most of these are under 200 pages. I think there are a couple that are just over 200 pages, like 210 pages, but I still wanted to include them in this video. So I've got a range of different genres. All of these, I'm pretty sure, with the exception of maybe like one or two, most of them are available on Kindle Unlimited, and as always, I will leave links to the ones I mentioned down below. So I have 20 novellas that I want to talk about in this video. I have done, for 4 of them, I've done a full video on those, so I will leave that link down below. And if you want to see more seasonal novellas, please do subscribe to my channel because I always do seasonal novellas. I love reading a novella. Most of these are from authors I've read from before, some are from new authors, but we're just going to dive straight into the list. And I'm going to go through the list in the order that I read them rather than like favourite to least favourite, but I'll talk about which ones I really enjoyed. So starting off with the first one. The first one is called Wrapped Up in You by Talia Hibbert, and I listened to this one on audio. I believe this one originally started out as a Kobo original audiobook, but I listened to it through my library. I have read from Talia Hibbert before and I do usually like her books, but sadly this one didn't work for me and I gave this one 2.5 stars. So this one is a best friend's little sister romance, and it is about these two characters who have been friends since childhood, and Will is what was her name? Abby. Will and Abby, and Will is Abby's brother's best friend. No, Will is Abby's brother's friend. Is that what I said? Was that right? But yeah, and I just didn't really enjoy this one. They are stuck at home together, and they end up spending their time together, and yeah, it just didn't work for me. I didn't love this one, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it because it wasn't really for me. Then I read the Home Sweet Holidays collection, which, as I say, I've done a whole video on those, so I will leave that link down below so you can check out my full thoughts. But that consisted of A Snow Place Like Home by Laura Pavlov, which I gave 4 stars to, Merry and Bright by Ali Rosen, which I gave 4 stars to, All Wrapped Up in You by Rosie Dannon, which I gave 3 stars to, and You Better Not Pout by Mia Sosa, which I gave 2 stars to. So definitely would recommend the Laura Pavlov and the Ali Rosen out of those ones. Then I read, or listened to, because this one's available on Kindle Unlimited with the read and listen function, as is the Home Sweet Holidays collection. I listened to The Holiday Hookup List by Alexis Daria, and this one I liked and gave 3 stars to. This one is a enemies to lovers holiday rom-com, and it's about these two people who end up spending time together, and they end up making this like list of rules that they have, or list of things that they want to do together, and they work their way through the list, and it's a little bit spicy, and it was okay, but definitely not my favourite. Then I listened to Hunted in Holly by Leanne Bell. This one was okay and I gave it 3 stars. This one had a very interesting premise, but sadly it wasn't like as great as I wanted it to be. But this one is a dark romance novella, and it follows, what was her name? I can't remember what her name was, but it's basically this cat and mouse game between these two characters, and we have the King of the North Pole, who is not like your good Santa, the character that you're expecting to be. He's a little bit dark, and he basically plays this game with our female main character whose name I've forgotten, and he basically like hunts her down, and it was okay, it was fine, but again nothing super memorable. Then we have Mischief and Mistletoe by Tanya Ann Crosby. This is book 4.5 in the Redeemable Rogue series, and I liked this one and gave this one 3 stars. This one is about Emma and Lucian. So Emma and Lucian at the beginning of the book are like engaged to be married. It's something that their family has arranged. But Lucian doesn't think that Emma wants to be with him, and so he breaks off the engagement, and now it's like a few years later and they are back together, kind of rekindling their romance. And this one was nice. This one's a historical romance. This one was definitely enjoyable, and I definitely want to check out more from Tanya Ann Crosby. I feel like maybe I would have liked this one to be a bit longer. Obviously with novellas they are short, so by nature things obviously happen quite quickly and the characters get together quite quickly and things aren't always fully developed. That's the nature of a novella, and I do like novellas and I do like that about them, but sometimes you want more from the story, and this is one of those occasions where I was thinking I really want a little bit more. But overall I would really recommend this one, and as I say, she's an author that I definitely want to check out more from. Then I listened to Captured by Krampus by Megan Linsky, and this one I gave 3 stars too. This one again is another one that is slightly on the darker side, and this one is follows Holly, who is part of the Claus family, and she is the obviously daughter of Santa, and they are monster hunters, and she goes around hunting monsters and killing them, and one of the monsters that she discovers is Krampus, and she is obviously going after Krampus to get rid of him, but she ends up discovering that he is actually her like fated mate, and it's obviously their romance, and this was a lot of fun. I feel like it's not like again, it was very short. It was a fun time, nothing too memorable about it, but I did have a good time with it, and if you're looking for like a Krampus holiday romance, then this one would be a good one to pick up. I've read quite a few Krampus ones, and this one I did enjoy, and I like that kind of fated mate aspect to it. Then I read 3 stories from Erica Ridley, which are part of the 12 Dukes of Christmas series. So we have Wish Upon a Duke, which is book 3. Need to start with book 2, Kiss of a Duke, sorry, which is book 2 in the 12 Dukes of Christmas series, and this one I gave 3 stars to. This one follows Penelope and Nicholas. Penelope is a female scientist, and she has created this perfume called Duke, and it's a male perfume, and it's obviously designed to draw in female attention, to get draw in females to males, and and that's been like hugely popular, and she is working on a female version called Duchess, and Nicholas is in town, and he kind of wants her to put a stop to making the perfume, and it's their romance. And this one was cute. I like this series as a whole because it's set around this small town which is called Christmas, and it's all very festive. Again, this is historical romance, and I really like the romance between Penelope and Nicholas, and I really like seeing a lady scientist as well, like a female scientist in historical time setting. I always find that very interesting, so I did enjoy that one, and I would definitely recommend it, but it's not my favourite from the series. Then we have Wish Upon a Duke, which is book 3 in that series, and this one follows Christopher and Gloria, and Christopher is Nicholas's brother from the previous one. And Christopher has been searching for a wife. He desperately wants to find a wife. Nicholas is his older brother and is deemed to be more attractive than him. So whenever them two are together, women are always attracted to Nicholas over Christopher. And so now that Nicholas is off the market because he's got married to Prudence in the previous book, Christopher feels like he can definitely shine, and he loves traveling, and he wants to find a wife that he can go traveling with. And he ends up meeting Gloria, and she is not someone that wants to travel. She wants to stay in Christmas, and she has her reasons for wanting to stay in Christmas, which I won't obviously spoil, but she has her own reasons, and she's very academic and loves studying things and studying places, but she has no desire to travel, and that obviously causes some conflict between the two of them, but they end up obviously getting together, and this one was really fun as well. Again, not my favourite from the series, but I did have a good time with it, and I would definitely recommend it. And then the last one from this collection that I've read, there are obviously 12 books in this series, but I've only read up to book 4. This one is Never Say Duke, which is book 4, and I really enjoyed this one. This one was my favourite that I've read so far, and gave this one 4 stars. And this one follows Virginia and Theodore, and Theodore has been injured, and so he is trying to recover quietly in Christmas, and he's quite grumpy because of his injuries. He kind of wants to be left alone, but in walks Virginia, and she is definitely a sunshine, over the top character who Theodore is not very impressed with when they first meet, and it is their romance, and she starts taking care of him and wants to help him recover. He's had, I can't remember exactly what caused his injury, but it was like some sort of leg injury, so he needs to help to learn how to walk again, sort of thing, and she helps him with that. And I just really like the relationship between these two. I love the grumpy sunshine trope, and it was done really well in this one, so I would definitely recommend this one. Out of the ones that I've read from this collection so far, this one would be the one that I would say definitely pick up, but they were all really good, and if you're looking for some historical romance novellas, this would be a good place to go. Then I have what was this year's story called? The Last Forever Kiss or something like that. Let me just remind myself the title of this one, but it's part of his Christmas List collection by T.L. Swan. So each year T.L. Swan releases a short story collection called his Christmas List, and she adds to that each year, and it's only available for a select amount of time on Kindle Unlimited for people to download and read. She's got, I think, like 6 or so stories in that collection now, and I did reread last year's ones as well, but I'm not mentioning them in this video. I'm going to focus on this year's short story, which was called A Forever Kind of Kiss, and I did not love this one. This one I gave 2 stars to. In this one we are following 2 characters, I can't remember their names, but I'll put their names on screen, who, one of them is a single dad and one of them is a wealthy older woman, and the single dad works as a masseuse, and he is hired to go to our female main character's house, and she, as I say, she's very wealthy, and he is hired to be her masseuse, and it's their relationship. And this one I think is building up to the start of a full-length novel. T.L. Swan sometimes does this with some of her short stories, where she kind of introduces it in this collection, and then it becomes a full-length novel. She has plans to. Some of them she hasn't released as full-length novels, so they do end up on a cliffhanger, and you kind of have to wait and see if she releases the full-length novel. But this one, I didn't really like the characters in this one. The hero, I usually love single dad romances, but this one, I don't know, there was something about him that I really didn't like, and this one does end on a cliffhanger and doesn't go in the way that you expect it to. It ends on a cliffhanger, so it's not like a happy ending, and it does take a turn, and she does give you a warning of that when you're reading it. She kind of says, if you don't want to be like, if you want to believe that these two are having a happy ending, then finish here. If not, carry on. And she kind of like rips it apart. But yeah, I didn't like this one. It's probably one of my least favourite from the whole collection, and I wouldn't recommend it. But the other ones in the collection that are from previous years, some of them I would recommend, but not this one. Then I listened to The Best Worst Christmas by Kate Forster. This one I enjoyed and gave 4 stars to. This one follows Lily and Tom, and Lily has been living out in Australia for the past few years, and she is travelling home to spend Christmas with her mother. And when she gets home, she just finds out that her mother is dating the father of her ex-boyfriend, or that is what she's led to believe at least. And obviously her mother and his dad are living together, so her and her ex-boyfriend end up having to stay in the dad's house next door. And I enjoyed this one. Obviously it's like a second chance romance between these two exes, and they do get back together. And this one was just a lot of fun. Obviously they think it's going to be a terrible Christmas because they're having to spend time together. Obviously they broke up and are kind of spending time together against their will. But I really enjoyed this, and it's one that I would recommend. Then I read Triple Tidings by Cleo White. This one I liked and gave 3 stars to. This one is set in a small bed and breakfast, and our female main character, I can't remember her name. Our female main character has only ever slept with 2 of her guests, and it's over the Christmas period, and there's like a snowstorm, so loads of people have cancelled, and the 2 guests that are going to be checking in are the 2 people that she slept with previously, and they end up spending like a night or 2 together. And this one was okay, but there's not really a lot of story to it. This one is just mainly spice. I've read some of Cleo White's previous books, and I've liked some of them a lot more than this one. This one, I think Cleo White does this in quite a few of her books, where the hero is typically a lot older than the heroine, and I do really like that. And as I say, this was fun, but definitely not my favourite from Cleo White, so I gave it 3 stars. But I do think she has better novellas. I have read, the one that I really like from her is Kissed and Missed. That one I really liked and gave 5 stars to previously, so that would be one that I would recommend over this. But this one was fine. This one's her new release for this year. Then I read 2 books by Layla Faye, and these are part of the same series. So we have A Very Stalker Christmas, which I gave 4 stars to. This one is a neighbour romance, and I really liked this one. We have our hero who is basically stalking his neighbour, and he is like completely obsessed with her. He's been breaking into her house, cleaning up, doing things around the house for her, and doing things like doing odd jobs for her, and she's noticed that things are happening, but she's never really thought anything of it. And then she ends up spending time with him. She goes around to give him some muffins, and they end up striking up a relationship from there. Now our hero is mute, so he doesn't speak, and they kind of obviously connect, and obviously they learn how to communicate with one another. And I really enjoyed this one. I really loved the way the hero was like so completely obsessed with our heroine, and he was, although he was like quite obsessive with her, there wasn't anything like, you could tell he really cared for her and wanted to look after her, and he just kind of like treated her really well, which I really like seeing. So I really enjoyed that one. And then the other one I read from her is her release for 2025, and that was A Very Killer Christmas. And this one I also gave 4 stars to, but I would say I liked this one a little bit less than the first book. So again, we have another very obsessive hero, and he is actually a hired killer. So at the beginning of the book, he is out on a hit, and he kills the mark that he's after, but there is a witness to it, and he has always vowed that he will only kill the people that he's hired to kill. So he leaves the witness behind, and obviously she calls the police, so they are obviously chasing after him. And so he breaks into this house, which is where our heroine lives, and he ends up like instantly falling for her. And our heroine is a cozy gamer girl. She like stays inside gaming. She has difficulties with leaving the house because of something traumatic that happened in her past, which I won't spoil, but he like is instantly attracted to her and ends up staying with her, and it's another hero that like really takes care of the heroine. He cooks for her, he cleans for her, he does like everything for her, and it was just really nice to see. As I say, I liked this one a little bit less than the previous one, but I did still have a good time with it. I would say this one is less Christmassy than the previous one as well, so if you're looking for something that's like it's set over Christmas, so they do some Christmassy things, but it's not like mega Christmassy. There are other ones on here that are more Christmassy, but yeah, this one was good and one that I would definitely recommend. Then I read One More Gift by Holly June Smith, and I liked this one and gave this one 3 stars, but it's definitely not a new favourite. Holly June Smith wrote one of my favourite Halloween novellas, which was called Scary in Love, so I was hoping that this one would hit the mark for me as well, but sadly I didn't love this one as much as the previous one that I'd read from her. But this one follows Saskia, and at the beginning of the book she is at her cottage, and it sounds like she is going to be rekindling with her husband. They've like spent time apart, and sounds like they're going to be spending time together for Christmas, but the guy who turns up is called Henry, and he's not actually her husband, and they are obviously having a relationship. And then her ex-husband Casper shows up as well, like unexpectedly, and it's about the 3 of them spending Christmas together. And this one was very spicy, and in comparison to Scary in Love was spicy as well, but I feel like there was a little bit more to it than this one, whereas this one I feel like was definitely more heavily focused on the spice, but it was fun. It was an enjoyable read, which is why I gave it 3 stars, but definitely not a new favourite. I do still want to check out more from this author. She does have some other books that I'm interested in checking out, so hopefully I will get to them at some point. Then I read What's a Girl Got to Do to Get on the Naughty List by Kimberly Lemming. I liked this one and gave it 3 stars. So I'd read something previously from Kimberly Lemming in the Halloween collection that they did on Amazon, and I really didn't enjoy that one, so I wanted to try something else by her, because I didn't know if it was her writing style, if it's just that particular novella, but I had a better time with this one. I gave this one 3 stars. This one, again, is another spicy romance. This one is another Krampus story as well, so if you're looking for some Krampus books, there are definitely a few on here that I would recommend. And this one is just about this girl called Daphne who ends up on Krampus's naughty list, and they end up spending their time together, and it was fun. It was very short. This one's one of the shorter ones on this list, but it was a fun Krampus romance if you're looking for that sort of thing. And then the last one I read, I think, is one of my favourites from the whole list, and this is Set the Record Straight by Hannah Bonham Young. This one is a FF romance between 2 friends, Clara and Evan, and initially it starts out as a fake dating romance, but they quickly learn that they do have feelings for each other, and I really enjoyed this one. This one was a lot of fun, and Hannah Bonham Young's writing is really well done, and I love friends to lovers. That's again one of my favourite tropes, so I really like seeing that in here. And this one deals with characters coming out as well. I can't remember what Clara, I think, wasn't previously out as being gay, and she's never really thought of herself as gay. She's always thought of herself as straight, and then she starts realising that she has feelings for her friend, and the way her family deals with that is very different to how Evan's family deal with it, and Clara's family end up taking Evan in because her family are very not accepting of her sexuality. And I just really like the way that this was written and the way that Hannah Bonham Young dealt with these topics. So obviously some of the things in here are a little bit heavier, but I thought it was done really well, and I thought this is a really sweet FF romance, and one that I would definitely recommend. So they are the 20 novellas that I have recently read that are Christmas themed. Some of them have been like really good hits, and I definitely want to read more from the authors. Like Layla Faye, I'm definitely interested to check out more from. I do want to read more from Cleo White and Holly June Smith. And some I would say are more hits than are more misses than hits, but overall I've had a really good time with them. I don't know if I'm going to squeeze any more in before the end of December, but if I do, I will definitely do a separate video on those. But if you have any recommendations for any Christmas novellas, please do let me know. There are so many that I really want to get to, but sadly, you know, I only feel like I can read them in December, so there's so many that I haven't got to that I wish I had, and we'll see if I get to them next year. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one.